So right now we're just waiting on the sister and her colleagues to show up. And T. Man, let me see what's this now. Oh, that's her. Okay, somebody named Human is in here. Just add them to the stage. Hello, Human. Can you hear us?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Human. What's the deal?
Can't call it, brother.
Let me see something here. What's in it? There we go. You see my little house on the prairie ass background.
Hey, it's sweet, bro.
This shit is not sweet. I feel like
Like,
I'm a
like you at a hotel.
or a gay wedding.
Yeah, well, you fond of those gay weddings.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm absolutely
Yeah,
not.
I don't know why it won't let me type it in, man. It just come in on my iPad. Bro, what you log in on your iPad? Is his mic on?
He got to mute it, but he can hear you. You know how he do, man. He probably
Yeah.
somewhere
I think
beating off.
I'm gonna have to download StreamYard.
Let me see.
All right, let me see.
Oh boy. Ugh. So this actually y'all going to the Reconnect page as well on YouTube.
Sweet.
So maybe people might get a get a stream. I mean a notification of the stream.
Oh, this a live stream?
Yeah. Oh,
Bro,
Dr.
Yeah.
Khan.
why your camera not on?
How you doing, sister? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
How are you?
Well, I'm well. I'm well. Dr.
Good.
Don Hinton.
Yes. Is Dr. Murray coming?
She should be. She just messaged me and told me that she was trying to get in. I told her she could have just downloaded Chrome to her laptop.
Oh, yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah. Uh, so did she send you the topics we will be discussing today?
Oh, it was a while ago. So let me check.
There go Dr. Nikita. She's there. She's
Oh,
in here.
let's see. Yeah, something about relationships, right?
Yeah. It was a few of them. Um. I can. Golly, where am I at? Okay. Okay. One of them is has social media revealed or exacerbated the relationship between black men and women? Can black feminism and black men and women's relationships coexist, or will one cause the other to coexist? How can black men and women heal the current divide between us? Um, can the black family be restored? Should
Hmm.
black women apologize to black men for taking the welfare deal that created the fatherless homes? And should black men apologize for giving up so easy? Somebody just
Okay.
left. Who we lose? T. Human. We lost human.
So Adisa, is this are there men and women on this show or is it
Yes,
just
yes, yes. It's three men
oh,
and three women. Well, it should be
oh,
three women. Is the doc, oh, let me add you to the stage. I'm sorry. Is she coming, Dr. Nikita?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Please.
Hey, babe. Hey, Dawn.
How you doing?
Dr. Dawn. Yes, she's coming. Yeah, you caught us. It's Saturday night at 9 o'clock.
I know. I know.
I
So this,
apologize.
no, I know you were busy. But what we did is we normally would do this like on a Monday evening
Mm,
because of the holiday and brothers having to work more hours, and some
right.
of this being like a
I
free
understand.
space, huh?
I understand.
Yep. So we just decided to do this on the Saturday night. Um, Probably for the may I don't know how long we're going to keep it this way on the Saturday night, but this is where we at right now. So maybe it'll change. Maybe if this is successful, we'll keep it the same. Excuse me.
And will we be live or is this recorded and then you're going to do it? You're going to show it like you do your podcast?
No, actually, I'm streaming this live
Okay.
on
So we're live now, actually.
yeah, and you can all of you can share it to where you want to share it to.
Okay.
If you want to share it to your Facebook pages and or any other social media page that allows it. Yep. So that's good. Okay, let me add the sister, another sister. How you
There
doing,
you
sister? Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Good evening.
No, good. Good evening to you. Good
Hey,
evening to you.
Aya.
Hey, hi Dawn. Hi Nikita.
Hey, sis. Thank you. So we're ready to go then.
Okay. All right. We
So we're sharing to where now?
huh? I'm sorry.
Where did you say we should share to, and how
No,
do we
you can
share?
share it to wherever it should allow you to share to whatever destination social media forum.
Where would
Uh
I see that to share it?
Let me see here.
Settings.
Is it in your settings?
Oh,
Or let me see, is it present? No, that's not it. Nope.
It says stream this to your audience at the top of the screen,
Okay.
I
but
see that.
it appears that we need an account in order to stream it.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, but you can sign up for free, Aya. You see?
Yeah, you can sign up.
I do. I don't know if I want to do all of that.
I'm good. I'll just share it off Adisa's page. When
Yeah.
I think I could do it that way.
Adisa, are you an alum of Western?
No, ma'am. I bought this from was it Rally House? So
Okay.
it was winter time and I needed a sweatshirt. So
That's Nikita and I's alma mater.
I used to hang up there back in the 90s, but that was about it.
Oh, so
So,
I was there.
okay.
What was I at Western?
Wow, Dawn.
I want to say like 93 through 97. Yeah. Ooh.
Good evening, ladies.
Okay. Can you
I
hear me?
wasn't there for the good times.
Good times.
Well,
Good.
there were good times, but I wasn't there for the good times like that.
I hear you. I hear you.
Doc Tari, can you hear us? We know, brother.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. Okay. Normally, what we would do is we would do an introduction about the reconnect and how it was started and why it was started, but so we don't, go too long into anything. I kind of want us to, get started with the conversation. Oh my God, what did I just do here? Okay, give me a second. I just did something crazy. Okay. Um, I just want to want us to get the conversation started. And is everyone familiar with the list of questions or the list of topics that we will be discussing tonight?
Yeah, I got him. I'm good.
You got them.
How the ladies and hello to the ladies too. I don't mean to be rude.
Yes,
How you
yes.
doing?
So I actually, that's what I want to do. I want to do an introduction of the panel of brothers, and then we allow you sisters to um, introduce yourselves. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Okay. All right. So, of course, You have me, your host, brother Adisa or Lamar, um, depending on how long you've been knowing me. You'll know me as either. You can use either. We have um, our brother Dr. Malimu, our
Just don't
intellect.
say it no more. Don't even say
Yeah,
it.
I said it right. I said it
No,
right.
you didn't.
I did. It's Mwalimu. Am I
It's who?
saying it?
You must have been
Dr.
practicing. It's
Mwalimu.
what?
Mwalimu.
Oh yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead, boy. Yeah,
I
well,
got you,
boy,
man. I know,
get
man.
them syllables together.
And then we have my boy. He'll say Kawan Vaughn up here. I just learned this name. I call him T. So this is our big brother, our visceral voice of black men in America right now. And of course, the sister that I invited that you all know, Dr. Nikita Murry, who I had a chance and privilege of meeting back in 2021 when I was doing another. I was just producing, not hosting, another podcast with my man Derek Kearney. So, sisters, if you all would like to introduce yourselves and let us know a little bit about you.
Sure, I'll go first. As Lamar said, I am Nikita Murray, therapist by trade, native Detroiter. Just love to participate in conversations like this, hoping for dialogue more so than debate. And I'm a big believer that um, we grow as a community when we're able to listen to each other as a community. So everything that I do centers on that, even the people that I hang around with. And that just gives me the opportunity then to say that and then toss it to um, the showstopper is going to go last. So I'll toss it to Dr. Dawn Hinton and then let her toss it to Aya.
All right.
So it's good to know that I am not the showstopper. Although I
Girl,
thought it was.
please.
Come on now.
Well, she has a new book, so.
Oh,
Oh,
she
that's a
got
good
the
point. That's a
okay.
good point. I'm just teasing. Aya is ourbomb.com, but Dawn Hinton, I'm a native Flintstone. So I'm from Flint, born and raised. I'm currently in Saginaw. I work at Saginaw Valley, where I work in administration doing interesting things. Um, been hanging out. I've known Nikita personally. I've hung out with her. I've seen her. We've been to dinner. I know Aya only online, but feels like she's my best friend. So had some opportunities to spend some time with her, and excited about the opportunity to talk with you brothers. Um, so that's me. I want to turn it over to Aya.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, Brother Adisa, Mwalimu, Keon. Awesome to be here. And of course, to my amazing sisters, Nikita and Dawn, thank you so much. I Baranelli. I'm an attorney and an author and a wife and a mother and a life coach for 27 years now. And the author of a brand new book. I'll maybe talk about that later if it's relevant, but really excited for us to have this dialogue. I don't think we talk nearly as much with each other as opposed to at each other.
Yes,
And so this should be good. It should be a good time for all of us to kind of examine where we are and more importantly, where we want to be as a community.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, guys. Welcome to the Reconnect podcast, and um, I'm pretty sure just like myself, we're glad, and the other brothers are glad to have you as well. Um, so let's kick this thing off. I want to start off talking about with the era of today, right? What we see a lot of now, a lot of on social media, and I would say some of the things that Kevin Samuel started, and some of the things that you have the sisters like Cynthia G and things like that. They started this conversation where it seemed like you all said there was a debate, a battle going on, and I wanted to know: did this reveal the rift between black men and women, or did it exacerbate the rift that was already between black men and women? Um, Kawan, can you start for us, please, brother?
I honestly, I can't say, either way, man. If it revealed the rift or, I think it's always been there. It's just been something that's been kind of like swept under the rug. and it's not been talked about. So I mean, if anything, it's just opened the eyes to have a discussion about it.
Okay. Dr. Nikita, is your mic on?
It
Okay.
is. I'm conscious of the background noise, so I muted myself. I don't. Okay, so I am not a fan, or was not a fan of Kevin Samuelson. I don't even get his name right. He's just that irrelevant to me. Simply because, as you know, as a person, as a therapist, and just how I flow, and then the people that I tend to be around, um, I don't think that we've had enough opportunities to talk for ourselves, to create our own narratives on both sides. Like, I'm a big proponent of Black men being able to take ownership of their own narrative about who they are, what they need. You and I, Lamar, have had the chance to have at least one conversation around that. Um, so for somebody like that to just come in and start pulling at us and setting us up to be against one another, from my perspective, was not helpful. So yeah, I don't have a lot of thought about him. I think that um, we're smart enough, articulate enough, capable enough to articulate our own narrative however it comes out. But let us do that first before somebody else start telling us what's wrong with us as connectors.
Okay. Um, Sister Don.
Well, first I want to say I don't know who Cynthia G is.
Okay.
I don't know that I can comment on what she said
Amen.
or her view. I only know Kevin Samuels by reputation. I've never heard his show.
Mm.
I, you know, I've intentionally avoided it. I think that there are these forces outside of us that are working to kind of create rifts between Black men and women. I don't know that there was I don't think that there is, you said, has it revealed or exacerbated
Yes.
a negative relationship? I don't know that there's this negative relationship that automatically exists between Black men and women. I think that we are exposed to social media, to television, to everything that creates these images of women, of Black women very specifically, and then also of Black men, to the point where whenever I see a Black man and a woman together who are married, who are a couple, I see it as a revolutionary act.
Right.
It's amazing to me that even in the midst of all of this garbage that's out there, that Black men and women are still able to get together. It seems like there's something going on out there that's working to create this rift. I don't believe that's a natural thing that exists between Black men and women. I think it's artificially created
Hmm.
in an effort to keep us apart.
Okay. Dr. and then can we finish up with Sister Aya on this topic?
Oh yeah, can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Well, to the question, I agree with the sister that these these rifts between us started artificially. But to answer the question, I think social media in general, that's what it does. It allows you, it exasperates everything.
Preach
You
on
know,
that.
I don't care what it is. It has allowed the world to see uh, an image of Black people that people might not understand. It's not rooted in culture. So they might not be able to process these behaviors that they're seeing, right? That's on one hand. Then there is a disconnect between our sisters and us in terms of how we interpret our own experiences and our own realities, and that language, if you will, right?
Right.
So I am a huge fan of Kevin Samuels. I mean, he almost my hero. And I came to the light of Kevin Samuels by way of my mother. My mother was actually watching him and she didn't understand why she liked what she was seeing. And she said she got popcorn and everything. And she said it dawned on her, he is my son, because he spoke clearly, he spoke directly to the disconnect and the issues. I think a lot of times we don't understand the language. And so a lot of things are lost in translation. But to put it short to the question, of course it has exasperated the disconnect between men and women. And I think that if we see marriage as a revolutionary act, I
Mhm.
guess I would say in what context? Because when we think of our revolutionaries, we think of our Harriet Tubmans, our Ella Bakers, our Fannie Lou Hamers. We think of our Dessalines, our Toussaint Louvertures. We think of people who have gone against the grain in order to bring forth a liberation or a sort of freedom for ourselves. I would like to think that we should get to a point where relationships between men and women, black men and women specifically, Lamar, you heard me say this a million times, it's like breathing.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Can I
Absolutely.
clarify what I meant when I said it's a revolutionary act?
Yes,
Please.
ma'am.
I
Please.
think by the very definition that you offered, it's a revolutionary act. I think
Okay.
we've been inundated with these images of what Black women are, that are very negative, right? We are these welfare mothers. We're these women who fight all the time. I don't know any, I've never seen Black women fight in my entire life. But if I turn on the television, if I watch social media, I see Black women continuously fighting. I don't know who these women are. I don't know why they're fighting. It doesn't really register with me. So this notion that Black men can see these images. I don't want to be with those women. I don't want to be in their presence and yet
Right.
still embrace Black women and marry Black women, right? Against all odds. For Black women to see Black men being vilified, as thugs, as criminals, as drug dealers, as people who should be in prison, and still find love in those Black men, that's a revolutionary thing. We are
No, I
resisting
no,
all
no,
of these.
sister. I'm sorry. I know I appreciate the perspective. I truly do. Well, I guess what I'm trying to say, because when we talk about these images, right? I have these conversations with my mother and all the time. My mother's a baby boomer. I think it is very important to talk about generations because a lot of people ain't outside. It's like, like my sister who spoke so eloquently earlier. She said she wishes to engage in conversation and not debate. And she says everybody who she's around is sort of going to be on that wavelength, right? If I'm not mistaken, it was sort of the context of what she was saying. Well, I'm saying that ain't, it does, that's not, I want to make my words soft just in case I have to swallow them. That ain't the average. See, we got to come outside because we could talk about the images and then we could talk about the actuality, right? And we have to be careful at sometimes that we don't get caught up in the images, right? Me as a black man,
If I may interject at this
please,
point, if you don't mind, brother, just to get back to the original question that he was asking. Social media is set up to sell conflict. That's what it
period.
does.
Right.
Mhm.
Period. And if we understand our history in this country, the whole idea has been divide and conquer as well. If we go back to the continent of Africa, everything was also about divide and conquer in terms of ensuring that we cannot come together and work together for our common liberation.
Yes.
So I didn't watch Kevin Samuels, from what you all are sharing, and some tidbits I've heard from other people, something about high value women or high something women or men. I don't know. I've never heard of Cynthia G. I don't know who these people are. When we talk about disconnecting, a disconnection between how we interpret our experiences, the truth of the matter is that every single man here came from a woman, and
Hmm.
every single woman here came from, there was a sperm that had to, inseminate the egg and so on and so forth. And
Yeah.
whether we have our fathers in our homes or not, we see images of Black men, hopefully in our communities. The concept of who's outside, who's inside, all of that, a lot of that is being curated for us as well. Their image is being pushed at us. And so it is up to us to decide how we want to present ourselves and how we want to take back the narrative of who we are, and not just say, well, there is a particular, and Black people, we run the gamut
Yes.
from saint to sinner and everything else. And I would hope that what we want to be as Black people is to be our full selves, and not just have one segment of certain kinds of behaviors be what is put out as this is what all of you are, whatever the image is for a Black man or for a woman or whatever. And if we are honest about our experiences and what we truly want, which I would hope is to be at peace, to work together, to see our communities thrive, then we need to get beyond some of these, I need to be right, and I need to have my point, be, and just say, what does it take for us to come back together? What are the discussions that we need to have so we can better understand each other? But this whole disconnect, why are we disconnected? Every single one of us has feminine and masculine energy. Every single one of us came from an egg and a sperm. Why are we disconnected? I would say if we're disconnected, men to women, women to men, it starts first with the disconnection on the inside of us. So let's get to self-healing, and then we can better connect with other people and not just project our traumas on everybody and then point the finger, when in my culture we say you pointing one finger, three pointing right back at you.
Okay.
So
Go ahead. Who's that?
I'm gonna leave it right there. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. All right. So we can move on.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So now I want to say this. I want to ask this topic here. Is can Black feminism as an institution and the relationships that we're talking about between Black men and women coexist, or will one cause the other to go extinct?
Just so we're clear, can you define Black feminism, what that is exactly?
I was hoping that you all could speak to it.
I don't know what you mean by it. You got the question. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm answering what you're asking, because I'm not sure what you mean by Black feminism.
Well, okay. Well, what is it? What is the origin or?
Me Too. The Me Too movement. The movement of empowerment of our women.
So
and not saying it in a way in which it's not respectful. We're literally speaking of it in the way in which it pits us against each other.
yes.
So your definition of Black feminism is it pits Black women against Black men?
No, I'm speaking about the actual movement. I'm not saying that this is my definition. I'm saying this is what the majority see it as.
And
So,
how
not anyone that's here.
so your understanding of the Me Too movement is it's against Black men, Black women against Black men?
No, it's women against men, period. It further perpetuates that narrative.
What was Me Too about, though?
So what is Me Too about?
Yeah.
It's about pick me too. Me too. So we have a saying that between me and my brother where we say me too too. You know what I mean? And it's basically the idea of, I think the Me Too movement is about humanizing women for men. Because we have.
Is that a bad thing?
No, it's not. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is during that process, in the translation, we get lost in thinking that men are no longer humans. And I'm not saying that this is for the women on the panel, but this is for the majority of people that I encounter. If
you don't mind, can you give an example of like something that has happened in the Me Too movement as you see it? However you're seeing the movement that
if I
supports what
may,
you're saying?
if I may, let me get
Go
in
ahead,
here.
brother. Go ahead.
I don't think he's actually referencing Me Too. That's the problem. I think what he's referencing is through conversations how people interpret Me Too, or how uh Me Too movement, or people's understanding of the movement, how it's talked about. I think that's what he's talking about. We understand that the Me Too movement is basically, what was it, a social movement sort of against sexual abuse and rape culture. Um, and so I think he's not referencing that. He's talking about the many conversations that came out of the Me Too movement as it relates to men and women discussing that movement and what that movement meant to them and their experiences.
And are we
Am I right,
equating
bro?
Yeah.
Me Too with Black feminism? So
And I
Me
think
Yes,
Too,
that's
Black
kind of
feminism.
yeah.
and that's
That's what's
what, and
gonna
I think, and that's
yeah.
where I was
He
going to
kind of
go. I
conflate,
think
like he
what he's
kind of
doing
put
is,
those together. But yeah,
yeah,
that was the
is
confusing thing.
kind of blending the two, because from what I know about Black feminism, what I've seen from Black feminism, is that there seems to be a thing that where it is saying our plight as Black women was worse than Black men, and Black men somehow contributed to that plight, as if Black men wasn't oppressed as
That's
well
what he's
and
speaking to.
didn't have the plight. So I think that what we're looking at, or what we're saying about Black feminism, is that it seems that it is being used as a tool by Black women to sort of um, annex themselves from Black men. Maybe I'm wrong. Can somebody please, sisters, please tell me what it is that we're seeing, because this is what's out here.
This is what's been the experience.
This has actually been the experience.
You
Yeah,
know,
but
and
I
I
think
was
where like we
And we're
have
not, and again, we're not debating you. We're
no
asking.
no
Right. No, no,
we
we're
have to
not
be
doing it.
fair though. We have to be fair. Like we know feminism is such a broad thing, and
It
then we
is
slap Black feminism, and we got our sisters on uh the panel. They don't know where to go with this because feminism is so broad. No,
right.
she's trying to figure out what is meant by the question. So why don't did
So
you?
it's I don't think I think I can speak for all of us
Yeah.
and say it's not that we don't know where to go with it. It's just that if I'm going to answer a question, I want to make sure I'm understanding the terms,
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
where the person is coming from, so that I'm answering the question you're asking,
Right.
because there
Right.
could be
That's what.
very many interpretations, and of course people are
Right.
filtering this
Yep.
through their own lenses.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and so
So did you? That's
that's
what I'm
why
saying.
I.
Did you mean for our sisters to define feminism for them?
No, the thing was is it wasn't even a definition that I was looking for. I was looking to ask if Black feminism as an institution and the relationships between Black men and women, or Black male and female as an institution, could they coexist, or will one cause the other to go extinct? What I'm asking is, can a man be happily married to a can a Black man be happily married to a Black feminist, or have a relationship
So
with a Black
so
feminist?
so
Oh,
first of all,
we.
I don't necessarily put the label feminist on myself, but if we go by the
Yeah.
textbook definition of feminism, it's the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of the equality of the sexes.
But we know
So when
that
you
is
ask
not
the
that
question,
is not what has been that is not what's been presented
no, when you
with
say
Black
we
feminism or
know,
feminism.
when you say we know, you know your own experience. That doesn't make it uniform for everybody. You
Sister.
asked the question, right? So you
Yes,
have your
I did ask a
experience.
question, but
Yes, yes.
I'm
So,
saying, so
so,
what you so
so
you're telling me,
you're articulating your, let me say this.
okay,
I would say that absolutely Black men and women can be in beautiful partnerships and marriages as long as each partner really does see the other as equal. And sometimes in our Black community and across the world, because of us absorbing these religions that have elevated the patriarchy, there
mhm,
is a sense that women are supposed to, quote unquote, be subservient in a way that dehumanizes them. And what
Mm.
Black women are asking for, and I'm not going to say all women because, hey, I can quote Shahrazad Ali right now and she will come here and say, I totally disagree with you. But I do believe that most people want to be, men or women, want to be in a relationship where they are seen, where they're loved, where they're respected for who they are, where they're nurtured, where they're cherished, where they're supported to grow.
Yes, ma'am.
And I've been married now for 26 years. And some of those years have been really great. And some of those years have been a struggle as we both figure out who we are and how we can truly partner with each other. It can be done, but we want to do it. The question is, are we committed to trying to do this work? It's not going to be easy. And we know that in the community that we live in, there are many things pulling at us. Now, if
Yes.
we want to elevate the things separating us, that's what we're going to have is separation. If we want to figure out how to come together, then we're going to have a better chance at it.
Okay. Okay.
Let me jump in too behind that.
Beautiful,
Part of
beautifully
part of
said. I'm sorry. Excuse
okay,
my interruption. Beautifully said.
yeah. Part of what attracted me to even this whole dialogue tonight and the list of topics and the direction in which um, my brother wanted to go with this was the opportunity to talk about what's possible in the way that Aya just said, but in a way that is relevant for us to talk about no matter where we come from, right? So I come from the east side of Detroit. That's my foundation by way of Chicago. Those are South Side Chicago.
Hold on, wait a minute. Stop it. Stop it. So wait a minute. You went to Fanny too, and you're from the south side of Chicago, and you lived on the east side of Detroit?
Yes.
That's me. From the
Yes.
Prairie Courts in Chicago to the east side of Detroit and Finney. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, people see the doctor thing and then they think a different thing about me. But my whole experience is the totality of all that I've seen, all that I've experienced, all that I want to experience, right? And so for us to be able to, feminism doesn't apply to me. I'm more focused on womanism. I'm more focused
Okay.
on empowerment.
Yes.
Um, not even just as a scholar, but as a person, I understand that feminism is just problematic for Black women,
Oh,
period. It
can
was never
can I ask a
created for us. Go
can I
ahead.
ask a question? I'm sorry to interrupt
Go
you.
ahead.
Can we articulate womanism versus feminism just for my clarity?
Sure. So, specifically, Africana womanism, which comes out of Gloria Hudson Weems,
Yes.
um,
Yep.
is the work of, or is the idea that we're focused more first on what it means to be a woman, and more specifically, what it means to be a woman of the diaspora or with roots from the diaspora, because that's a very different experience than what, like women in general or the creators of feminism approach that work. My journey isn't like my white friends' journey and my white friends who might be feminist journey.
Yes, ma'am.
So womanism centers what it means to be a woman, to identify as a woman, and then what that looks like within the culture of having African roots. Now, Dawn wrote this whole big old book on this, so she can expand this further. But for the part of my dissertation that it pertained to, that's my takeaway. So I look at what it means for me to be a Black woman in this country, but also what it means to be a Black woman from the East Side. Like what it means to have my roots in the hood and now in the suburbs. It don't change. But getting back to the conversation that we were having, I've never been married, but I still want to be married. And I want to be married to a brother I want to be married to a brother. And I want to be married to a brother who has his own journey where I can be his best cheerleader. I don't need to drive his journey. I need to support him on his journey because I got my own journey too. And we understand that he has his journey, I have my journey, and we have our journey. And those things shouldn't be competing because they're not. My journey shouldn't take away from who he is as a man and vice versa, right?
Yes.
So we should be able to do all of that. But to Aya's point, the narratives that we hear so much of, whether it's on television, whether it's on social media, whether it's in print, like all we see, what we see is anti that, as though we're not even interested in being partners. That's what it means to be partners, right?
Yes.
So it makes it seem like because you have an advanced degree, you don't want a brother who cuts hair. That's nonsense, right? That's
I just had that
nonsense.
conversation yesterday.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
had
you
that
did. You had an
conversation
interesting
yesterday.
conversation.
That's nonsense.
Absolutely.
But that's part of the narrative that we don't get to write and we don't
Right.
get to hear.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sister Don, please chime in. You wrote the big book. We want to hear about your
I
take.
am I am trying to catch my breath. You guys caught me off guard with that line of reasoning. So let me say this. What I am aware of is that I am a type A personality. I'm aware of that, right? I'm very confident in what I know and confident in who I am. And so sometimes I think that my confidence comes off as arrogance. I'm not arrogant. I simply know, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this is what I know is that Black feminism is not something that is anti-man. It's not anti-Black man. It's not anti-male at all. It's possible for us to talk about Black feminism as the conversation is about intersections, right? So the fact that I am Black, I am female, I am middle class, I am from a certain place, I am American. I hold all of those things, right? And as a
Yes.
result of holding all of those positions, I have a very unique experience in the US, right? I have a very unique experience in Saginaw on the West Side, right? I have a
Mhm.
very unique experience as a result of that. Um, and what Black feminism acknowledges is that my experience is valued, it's meaningful, and it centers me for me. So I'm no longer looking at how women experience the world. I'm looking at how Black women experience the world when we talk about Black feminism, right? Now, what's difficult for us to discuss is that, well, first of all, first and foremost, within this context of Black feminism, we are struggling with Black men against racism, right?
Okay.
We are fighting side by side with Black men against this whole idea of racism. But in some instances, within our own homes, we are struggling with Black men on when it comes to sexism. Um, and I think that's a difficult idea, and that's the piece I think that you guys have grasped onto in an effort to suggest, and you have to rescue me if I'm wrong, that Black feminism has the potential to undermine Black male-female relationships
Yes.
because we're anti-sexism. We don't believe that women should be treated unequally, right?
I
Um,
don't think that that's what we think.
okay.
I don't think it. No, no, not as men. I don't. No, no. I don't. Black um, um, fighting against sexism. No, that's not what we see. I think it would be misandry that we currently are black misandry that we're seeing perpetuated throughout. And seriously, I have to say this. Maybe you sisters, no, I don't want to say maybe, but from what I'm hearing, you sisters aren't like connected to the buffoonery that's being spewed out here. You're totally, no, seriously, you're so no, seriously, because you're women.
No,
You're
we
women.
see we see the buffoonery. We just choose not to elevate that and to have that be what describes who we are.
Okay.
And what all of us on here are doing is we are actively engaging with younger women and
Okay.
telling them this is not who we are. Listen, we have always been made caricatures in this culture,
Mhm.
Yes.
whether
Period. Yeah.
it's
Period. Yeah.
Jezebel or and now all the men that you all have that they have wearing dresses. Like, you can't be a black male comedian anymore if you don't wear a dress, if you want to
Right.
advance your career. So there are always these people behind the scenes who are trying to create these narratives of who we are. If
Okay.
we choose to buy into that, I know about Sexy Red. I know about, WAP and all of that
Too much
stuff.
my head
But the
hurt.
fact that that is there doesn't mean that I need to center it.
No,
Right.
I thank
Right.
you. And
Yeah, that's a.
so
Yes, we're not
no,
going to
that's
center
so
that. And we want everybody watching to know there is a different way that we are, and there's a
okay.
different way that we should be. Because what we're doing, if we go down this path that other people have created for us, but that is
Yeah,
bringing us the coins. I mean,
yeah,
because if I act ratchet and act the fool, I can get a reality show and I
yeah.
can wear Gucci and I can this, and then you'll be talking about me because I'm an influencer. I'm not an influencer when I'm speaking truth and acting like I'm in my right mind. So you can see how the culture, this system, we call it the social structure, is motivating people to act out of their minds. Now,
Mhm.
we would be crazy to then follow those people and keep giving them more oxygen. My job, if I will call it that, is to take the oxygen out of that and put the spotlight on what we really want to be. Let's elevate what we want to be, and not just the buffoon's gonna be there. I mean, listen to the rap music of today versus the rap music of 20 years ago.
Yes, ma'am.
They're curating this stuff. I mean, some of these songs, I'm like, I'm not a prude or anything, but my God, this what we dancing to?
You're right.
So we can't elevate that. It doesn't help us. That will kill us. That will crush us as a community.
Okay.
And we're fighting against the buffoonery, not just as it pertains to Black women, but also as it
Black
pertains
men.
to Black men.
For
Yeah.
real,
No,
who wants to
absolutely.
see a man's
Absolutely.
ass hanging
Yes.
out because he can't pull his pants up? I mean, this is the nonsense out there.
Nor
That's
do
who
we
I'm
want,
supposed to marry?
and nor do we want to see you guys dressed like women, imitating welfare mothers or Jezebels, or just these hood rat kind of images that somehow have been created. We
I
don't want to
love
see
it.
that
Man.
either.
This is,
And I think that indeed is what Aya is saying, right? That's what's being elevated. Now, I want to take it just a little bit further with that, right? Because if we
Yes.
see these images, what are these Black men saying to us? Right? These Black men who are dressing Mud Deer. What is Mud Deer saying to us? Before Mud Deer, it was Norbit, right? It was, what's the guy's name? Nipsey Russell. Oh gosh, Aya, come on.
he
Which
Nikki,
was.
one?
who
Yeah,
used
yeah.
to dress up? Oh,
You ain't like Nipsey Russell?
what's his
You
name?
talk, you're talking about Shanae?
Oh, it was long before that. It was my mama's.
Before that one?
But
Um,
for so long,
I know who you're talking
what are
about.
these images
Flip
saying?
Wilson.
Flip
Flip
Wilson.
Wilson.
That's
Yeah.
who it is. Yeah,
Yes.
Flip Wilson.
Flip
Dang,
Wilson.
Dawn, you went way back.
I
Jeez.
went because it's been here so long. They
Yeah,
don't
this is. Yeah,
value
it's, yeah. This
femininity. They
is.
make
Yeah,
fun
this
of
has
us.
been.
They act like
Yeah.
we are
This-
just totally uncontrolled. We're these church women. Of course, we've seen the men who are dressing up like church women. We can't even go to church and be, decent, because then those images are also emulated in ways that are very negative. So what are they saying to us in those images? And that's why I say it's revolutionary for us to love. I mean, love is a revolutionary act, particularly for Black men and women. And it should be easy. It should be like breathing. But society makes it so hard. And we buy into all of that. And we make it even more difficult when it really should be easy.
Because
And
often
Don,
we are
because
looking
you
at each
keep
other
bringing
through
up
our
that
selfish eyes.
that word revolution, I gotta pick this up
Come
because
on
this
now.
is my new book, Your Self-Love Revolution. The revolution even has to start with self, because the reason why we acting crazy with one another is we don't love and like ourselves first. So I'm going to project all that self-hatred on the next person. I'm angry. I'm not in touch with myself. How am I going to connect with somebody else? That is revolutionary.
You know what is important to say too, especially when you talk about taking care of yourself, starting with your work on yourself first. I'm going back to Adisa's last podcast where he talked about his experience as a father. And that's the other part of like who we are and the work that we do and the people with whom we engage. Like when I said earlier, I surround myself with certain kind of people for the most part, because I understand that I need people to give me energy to do the work that the rest of the work that's out there. But getting back to Adisa, when I was listening to that, I was like, how can we connect with her? How could, like, how can we prevent other men from having this type of experience? Because that was some total, excuse me, BS that you went through. And I was even mad on my side listening to you talk about your experience with your son, and yet knowing that there are women out there who don't know what else to do with their hurt because they haven't healed. So then they intentionally or unintentionally inflict it on the people that they don't want to inflict it upon, which then contributes to part of, this, what we're seeing from out of this dialogue that we're having now. So
Yeah.
getting back to some of those questions, am I making sense with that?
No, absolutely making
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. I just want us, just for the sake of time, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bump down because I want to keep. I actually want these questions I want the energy to stay here. Okay. And I want the sisters. I'm liking what the sisters are saying, and definitely what my brothers are giving us too, as well.
It's
So
refreshing.
it is totally.
It's different. It's different. It's different
It's
because I
definitely
think the
not.
whole this is hijacked. They hijacked us. They
Yeah, they
hijacked.
did.
That's what they
They
did.
They
did.
did.
They
This is
hijacked,
not what
man.
we
They
used
Like
got
to
it.
dealing with.
because this is the Matrix. Because our sisters are eloquently speak. These are listen, and
No,
I'm
no,
not.
wait a second. How y'all gonna say this? Did your mama
No.
still love you?
Huh?
These are
Listen,
Stop,
compliments.
Aya, stop.
listen,
These
Stop.
Have
listen,
you
are
never felt a
compliments.
This
black
this
woman's
isn't
love
a,
for real?
listen,
no.
listen.
You have to
Let
listen
me
to it.
speak to
Just
that.
let the
Let me
brother
get in
explain.
here. I'll tell you. See, I'm not a person like my own. I say this all the time, and this is just my perspective. And it's very interesting to me. My own perspective is really interesting. My personal experience means almost nothing to me. It is
Mm,
always the collective. It is
yeah.
always the collective experience because I might experience this over here. Like, oh, okay,
Right.
cool. That doesn't necessarily mean that's what it is.
That's what it is.
It's just
Right.
something that I go through. And it's whether it's negative or whether it's perceived as negative or positive, right? What I'm hearing our women speak, first of all, I'm speaking to women. I don't mean to degrade anybody, but I do think that the men and women have intent, purpose, and responsibility and are duty bound. This is one of the reasons why if a man is not taking care of his child, that what is this saying? That he's not a man because he's not taking care of his responsibility.
Right.
This is not um the average here. This
No.
discussion is not the average. And
This is
these
not.
images, my sister who said social media, it basically projects negativity and it they're able to procure wealth out of that. She's exactly right. But the reason these people become influencers is because they speak to the personal experiences that that the public believes in.
Yeah.
So when you hear sexy red, that's average to us. And what I mean by average, I don't mean
That's what he means when he says to be outside.
yeah,
Mm.
like I'm saying, like when we having a
Yeah,
conversation.
okay, but why does it speak to us? See,
What do you
because if
mean?
a certain thing,
Okay.
if I have a child who's brilliant and I'm
Mhm.
repeatedly telling that child how dumb they are, then that becomes something that they believe and then they start acting it out. So what
Right.
I'm saying is there may be some quote unquote people outside there, if we're to use that terminology, who are acting a certain way, but we need to remember that we weren't always acting like this.
No. Right.
No,
So what
no.
changed?
I
And
I would
who
But
like to
we
and
I
who
would
is
like to say
who is behind the scenes, moving us
that's
like
the thing.
puppets. And
I
then
think
now us thinking this is our culture. We're actually believing that acting in the way that we are now is our culture. When did that start?
so
We
it,
need
it's
to
been a part of
remember who we are.
it's been a part of one the younger generation. It's a constant for them. For myself, it's a constant. This is what I've seen. This
What
is
is the
all I
concept?
know. This behavior, this narrative. This is
So
all
when
I know because this is what I've seen.
right.
I haven't seen anything other than this. So how can I know something that I haven't seen? I have no experience in it. That's like saying that, common sense is only as common as your experiences. So this is common for them.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah.
No, and
And
No, that makes
Wait,
sense.
so
I
let
think
me.
that's what I'm speaking to. I'm glad you said it like that, bro. That's kind of what I'm speaking to. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm saying it's our reality. And these images, they do speak to us because we have modeled that behavior. It makes sense to us.
But
That,
here's again.
that's what I'm saying.
But again, here's what I.
And I'm gonna ask you all: are there no other images that you saw at all?
No,
Like, is this? Are we really gonna say this is the only image that we are seeing, or is this an image that we have embraced more so? Are we going?
great
Like, what do
question.
y'all really
Everybody
think?
has seen
Let
Bill
me.
Yeah,
Cosby and
I
the
Okay,
think
let
it's
me.
Cosby
Let me
Show.
chime
You
in
know
here.
what I
Let me
mean?
chime in, please. Let me chime in right quick. Here's the thing. Here's what I want to say. To that, dear sisters and brothers. I think what we're talking about when we're speaking to this is that what we're failing to forget. What we're failing to forget is like right now is that this is a conversation between us about these things. Now, we're not saying that I'm not saying that we deny reality. We deny what we see. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that we have a conversation and we need to find this place of understanding, not to where we should be challenging each other. This we're not debating with each other here. Let's get this
I never
understanding
took
now.
it as a
So,
debate.
huh?
I didn't take it as a debate.
No,
No,
we're
no,
we're
no, no.
we're,
I
we're
just
not
because I
debating.
didn't
It's
I
just
didn't want anyone
understanding.
to
We're
feel
not
no, no,
debating.
I'm saying I don't want any of us to feel like we're being challenged because we're being questioned or like there's some pushback. No, this is not a debate. We just want to have some understanding here. So sister, so what I'm saying is when you hear these these brothers talk, in fact, let me say this. Dr. Nikita, when you spoke about the clip that I sent you, there's actually a full podcast with it where my brother Daktari and brother Kawan speaks of their experience. Kawan speaks of his relationship with his mother. She was supposed to do the podcast with us. You see what I'm saying? And Daktari talks with his children about the same thing that I went through with my son, but he had two children that you see what I'm saying? So there was a full scope there that my experience, yeah, you saw that, but so what I'm saying is you can hear these brothers and you can understand these brothers. You'll see where they're coming from.
Right.
So that's where the what they're speaking to. Because yes, this is different for us to hear black women speak about being and sister, where are you from? Because I do detect an accent.
She has a Jamaican accent.
Is that
She's
what it
from the
is?
island somewhere.
And I got a blonde here. No, I'm just kidding. Um,
Oh my God, I got lightheaded. Oh my God.
Thank you.
No, where you from?
Thank you.
no. I'm just kidding. Not Jamaica, although they dropped us off all at different places.
Oh,
The
everywhere.
accent you hear, my family originates from the place that is now called Nigeria. I was born in Columbus, Ohio.
No.
Okay.
Met Nikita in Michigan, and currently now live in Texas. And so yeah, you hear that accent, but
So here's the thing. My wife is Gambian. My wife
ah,
is from Gambia. And from by her being from Gambia, you're expressing the same thing about womanhood, about
Yes.
relationships
The way
that
you that's why I
I'm
don't have
just
any. I'm
seeing,
sorry.
and my brothers will tell you,
I don't have
I'm
nothing
just
to say. But
said
hold
it.
on, let me jump in here.
Go
I
ahead.
don't want I this is what we're not saying. We're not saying that this love that pours out of a black woman is an anomaly. We are not saying that. We know
No,
who you are. We ain't never believe my sister said we came through you. Everybody on this planet did.
planet,
That's
everybody.
facts. What we're saying is there has been a disconnect
Yes.
to where we are not having the conversation that we are having now.
We
We
ain't
are not
feeling so
having the
loved.
conversation.
We ain't been
So
feeling that.
so these like I want to be clear. So
So
these images that we because I want to keep the images. So these images that we have been discussing on social media and all of that, they play an important part because it does reflect what we see as the average.
So also, Jay, let me drop this on them too, please. So sisters, I want y'all to hear this. You're talking to three men that were abused growing up by women. So you have to realize that what we're seeing, what we're speaking to, is from looking up and loving someone who then in turn at some point punched down on us. And I'm not saying it was
No, I'm
our
not going for that.
mothers.
I'm, I'm not gonna let you victimize me. No,
No, no, no,
in
no.
no
It's not
way.
This is not victimization,
Can,
brother.
I
can we
This is
my
actuality.
can I give you
yes,
It's
can I
It's
give you a
my
real
actuality.
perspective.
quick?
hold on. Let me jump in
It's
here.
Hold
Let
on.
me
Let
speak
me
perspective.
say,
my
is
own
it
opinion.
actual? Is it actual?
It's actual.
Okay,
But
that's all I'm saying.
but you do understand that my perspective, my concept, literally, and I just hate the cycle and I hate it. Literally has nothing to do with having conversations with plenty of women about our experiences in terms of being married, in terms of relating to one another.
The
My
plights
sexual
that we
abuse,
have.
it doesn't have anything to do with it. My perspective specifically comes from the dialogue that we've had with our sisters and the experiences that we've had with our sisters. Not whether or not I was sexually abused, none of that.
So let me say this. Let me say
Well,
this.
brother,
I
come
think
on.
I hear what you guys are saying. Um, and I appreciate you sharing that with me. Right? I appreciate hearing that you have had some experiences, negative, positive, with Black women
Mhm.
that have shaped you. What I want you guys to know, Adisa, Kawan, and is it Daktari,
Yep.
is that we had those same mamas.
Hmm.
We grew up with those same women, those same Black women who raised you, raised us, right?
Mhm.
Um, what I want us to be conscious of is that language matters,
I
right?
agree.
Yes.
Hmm.
So the comment, and you never really clarified, and I'm not asking for clarification right now, of us hijacking the conversation. I want you to know that Black women in corporate spaces have always been told that we're too loud,
Oh.
right? That we ask too many
Oh.
Yeah,
questions,
Oh
I
no, no,
want to
that ain't
that
what he's
clarify.
we
saying. That's
look
not what
that
he's
Yeah,
saying.
no, no, let
that
him
we
finish.
just
But
got
I
no.
want to
You have
clarify.
to hear me. I've been listening.
Okay.
I've been listening. I just want to be heard.
Okay.
So we've always been told that. And then, and I know you didn't know this, but my area of specialization in terms of research is Black feminist theory, right? So Nikita talks about
Oh.
writing a book on Black feminism. I wrote a dissertation on Black feminism, right? I
Mhm.
study Black women. And so the conversations that you've had with, let's say, 5,000 Black women, let's say
Hmm.
hypothetically, those are the 5,000 Black women you've had. There
Understand.
are 21 million Black women in the United States, right, who have very unique experiences. So we want to be careful with our language and the words that we use, because I don't know that you guys realize that when you say certain things, it triggers us.
Mm.
And I know that, maybe we should be stronger, right? That's another trigger of mine. Why, as a Black woman, do I have to be strong, right? Why can't I have a soft place to land? Why can't I have some comfort? Why do I have to take all of it? Why do I have to be told that I'm hijacking a conversation because I'm speaking my truth, right? Why can't I be embraced, right? Why can't I be loved in the same way that I love brothers, right? Nothing against any of your experiences. I appreciate it. And I've never heard Black men speak this way about how they feel about what's going on with Black men and women's relationships. And so, love it. But I need y'all to be gentle with us.
Okay.
Do you hear
That's
me?
fair.
Yeah.
I need
More,
you to be gentle
and
with us because,
And
that's very fair. That's the hard part. It's a
I
great.
love you.
That's a
I'm trying
great
to be down
point.
with Black men, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I need for us to be
That's a
careful with our
great point.
language, and I need for us to be gentle with
That's
us
a great
Black
point.
women.
If
it's
I can
and it's
if I can make a couple of points here. First and foremost, I want to say, Brother Kawan, I heard you when you said we're not feeling the love. And that really pierces my soul on a number of levels. One, I'm hearing you, and I know that even in my experience, there are a lot of men, Black men, who would absolutely echo what you're saying. And what's so crazy about it is Black women are saying the same thing.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
We are
Yes.
not
Mhm.
feeling the love. So
Yes.
here we are, a whole community hurting and turning to everything else for comfort, drugs, sex, alcohol, the bag, whatever.
The microcosm of effects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that we really cannot do this topic justice without speaking about the proverbial elephant in the room. The fact that we are all deeply impacted by, I hate to use the term white supremacy because there's nothing supreme about them, but
Western society.
racism.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that from day one, we were set up to struggle against each other, because if we struggle against each other, we're not strong enough to come together to fight a common enemy.
Right.
Mhm.
So we can't really have this conversation without talking about the white patriarchal system and the way that it sucks the life out of us.
Yes.
And so, brother, I did watch a little bit of that podcast, and I'm thinking, okay, when you were saying, I was over here and I was trying to make a living and all of that. If you had more resources, you could have made some very different choices,
Racist. Yeah.
and
No,
probably
absolutely.
vice versa. So
Yeah,
you
the same.
see how
Yeah, I'm sorry.
poverty
The same.
affects us. You see how racism affects us. You see how the trauma that we're constantly under as Black people, how it affects how we feel about ourselves, and therefore what we're able to present to each other. There is, I encourage everyone to Google this. It's on YouTube somewhere. There was a conversation between Nikki Giovanni when she was really, really young, and James Baldwin.
James Baldwin. I
Yeah,
saw
James
it. It was
Baldwin.
beautiful.
And she was saying to him, he was basically kind of like, we're fighting against the white man, that. And when we come home, can we just have peace? I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
And Nikki Giovanni was like, we got that same fight. We out here catching hell too. And then when we come home, we catch hell from you too, because you can smile for the white man, but you can't smile for me. Like, fake it, smile for me too. I need that too. And so
Wow,
what
this
you see is racism is really impacting how we're able to live as individuals, and then how we're able to come together. And what I really want to focus on is, what are we going to do about it? So Brother Kawan, Brother Daktari, well, though initially y'all said Mwalimu, so y'all confusing
That's his
me.
last name.
That's the
This is
last name.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm always fumbling his last name.
No problem. And then Brother Adissa, the thing that I'm going to say is, if we're not seeing what we want to see, then it's time to be what we want to see, so
Yes,
that somebody else can say they saw it in us. And
Yeah.
if we're having this conversation, that means we know there's a different way to be. And we just need to find the courage and the discipline then to be that thing, so we can model it for others. We can start to change the narrative, because otherwise we all going down.
Okay.
Absolutely agree.
So
Go ahead,
I
brother.
wanted to speak to the hijacking. That was a compliment
That's what it is.
from my
I took
brother.
it as a
was
compliment.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
literally a
but-
compliment.
Yeah,
The
I-
reason-
yeah. I'm
and I-
sorry. Let me speak to that, bro. I said it. Like, yeah, I'm glad that some of you picked it up as a compliment. I meant it. You all don't know, my brothers text me, "Are you all right?" Because I'm silent. They don't hear me silent. I don't have to talk all the time. So I'm hearing people, my brother Adisa, my brother Kawan, I'm hearing people articulate very valid facts. I don't need to talk all the time. And so when we were speaking to our experiences, I was like, oh man, I'm in the matrix. This
Yeah.
ain't what I'm normally getting, because what you ladies are saying is as matter of fact.
Yeah.
I'm saying that when it ain't no, it's really no, not that we were debating, but it's really nothing else to be kind of offered, in that conversation. We're just not used to that. My
Yeah.
sister's speaking on our diaspora, about
Yeah,
how
that-
white supremacy affects us. When we're in conversations about our experiences and we bring up white supremacy, we bring up racism, we bring up the policies that pitted us against one another, it's like we hearing from our sisters like, y'all just want to blame everything on the white man. That's
Yeah,
what we're
right.
hearing. So we're not able to have these conversations in this depth and in this way. You
And
know,
if you heard me say,
So
it's a breath of fresh air.
yes, nothing.
Like it
That's what
literally
I
is a
meant
breath
by
of fresh air.
hijacking. I was
that's what he
speaking to
meant
the
by hijack.
intelligent.
Like this
I
was a
was
this
speaking
was a
to
good
the
hijack. Like,
humble
oh
way
my
in which
God,
all of you have spoken.
we came in with, even though I know, me and Dr. Nikita, we've had, we spend time around each other and stuff. And we've even, commented on posts and stuff to each other on Facebook and the like. But so I knew that I was going to get a great conversation from her. Now she said, I'm bringing two women with me. So now we like, oh shit. Excuse my language. That's how I'm thinking. Like, oh
Right,
shit, here we
right. I
go.
was like, uh-oh.
Oh boy. So it's like, so it
To
was
the point,
like,
my brother didn't want to come on.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
My brother didn't
I
even
Yeah,
want
he
to
literally
did.
come
was
on
like,
because
I ain't
this is
doing it.
I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
Like,
I ain't
because
doing
because
it.
So
this is
so when the
our
brother said it
norm.
was a hijacking, it was like, oh my God, thank you.
Yeah,
This
fly the
wasn't
plane where
because
y'all
we
want to
came in,
fly
we
it.
were ready, like we were ready with our swords, like out, like okay, these sisters about to come, and then y'all come and y'all bring your womanhood, but
Yes.
and so when you bring your womanhood, we're not used to seeing that, so we like, all right, wait a minute, hold on, what is this? No, we ready to fight, then y'all use your womanhood to speak to our manhood, and then we hear that, and then it's like, oh wow, you
There's
Let
know.
me
nothing to
say it
say.
this way.
There's
Let
nothing
me
else to
say it
say.
this way. The level of feminine energy was enough to de-escalate us.
Yeah, it was like a tranquilizer, and we were
That's
like
Well, I
it.
don't
clumsy
like.
elephants.
I don't want
I
our
just
sisters
just fall
to
in
think
line.
we was in
Let me
for a
just fall in
fight.
line.
I wasn't in for a fight, but I most definitely
Right? New.
didn't
It
think
was.
this because I've had this conversation a million
Yeah.
times, and I can't speak of racism and white supremacy. I can't speak of the various things that have pitted us against one another. You know, I can't speak like that because there he Malcolm X again. Oh,
Yeah.
he you want to do everything except be accountable for what you do. You just
I'm the
want to
mad
blame
Muslim
everything
at
on the
work.
white man. That's so my attempts to have that conversation and not bring that up is still very, very challenging. It's still
Yeah.
really, really challenging because we're dealing with our experience without actually talking about the disease in the first place.
Right.
So we're
Yeah.
not talking about the disease in the first place. Everything else we're just talking about is symptomatic. So
Yeah. So can we just get? As a matter of fact, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna knock it down to two more topics. Is that okay? Because we kind
I
of.
don't even think we need to go another
I
topic.
I the reason
I
I do
honestly
because
don't. It's
I think for people
For the
who are
audience.
watching they need to hear this. For us, like I said, I'm like having this conversation. I'm gonna go squeeze the shit out of my wife. When we get done. Um, I'm just being honest. Um, okay, so keeping this, this conversation going, and just talking about the energy, and I want you all just to understand where we're coming from when I ask you this. Should black women apologize to black men for taking the welfare deal? I'm gonna make it a two-parter that created fatherless homes. And do you think that black men should apologize for giving up so easy after the deal was taken?
What deal was
Yes.
that? What wait
Yes.
a second. What
Wait, Aya.
Go ahead.
Because I know where I know my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
No, go ahead. Yeah.
and we talked a little bit about this the other day. So, and the cool thing that the other part that y'all don't always get to see is that we're confident enough in how we think to talk through things with other. So I'm sorry, my mic is messing up. So we can talk through things with other people and kind of process it amongst ourselves. And so in the processing of that question, actually, Lamar, I asked Aya, I wonder if he means that Black women didn't encourage them enough, and so we should apologize for that. And then the second part to what you were asking is, did you did Black men give in too easy and not push us to support them more? And so there's the need for both sides to apologize, right? And so she and I processed that together, and where you could potentially go with that. Because if you look at, again, going back to our own upbringings and my own upbringing, I know Black men who had Black women who were co-conspirators with them on trying to beat the system. And in trying to quote unquote beat the system, they didn't demand the best of one another and their potential. And so then do we need to apologize for that? And I would say yes. As a mental health professional and all of the spaces, yeah, I would say yes. Somebody else might disagree, because then that also meant that we were mutually harmful to one another and not encouraging one another to be their best. But that's not every story, but for a period that was a common story.
Okay. And just so I can explain what I mean is that from the broader perspective, that, and this is what I was talking about, the imagery or the understanding of Black feminism that we got, was that once this thing was instituted, um, you started to see a great growth of women saying, I don't need a man, I could take care of my child by myself. And you started, and within that, you start to see a bunch of the rise of the single parent homes. Like I said, not like I said, but like it is written after 1965, you started to see marriages and things drop in the Black marriages, and homes, two parent homes like that drop in the Black community. So I'm saying that when I say taking the deal, should Black women look at this and assess this and say, man, we did kind of use the slave master's whip as a lifeline. And I know that that doesn't sound real pleasant, but we used the slave master's whip as a lifeline, and we pushed our man out. And what I'm saying is, do you think that the Black man should also apologize for not standing strong and saying, no, I don't care what this welfare thing says, I'm keeping my family?
I think this is an insidious position that the Black community is in, period. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
And I think that the fact that we have this disproportionate number of Black women who are receiving welfare. So let's say, Black women represent 6% of the population. By right, if we're just talking about justice, we should be 6% in welfare. We should be 6% of all the people who are rich and wealthy, 6% of the middle class, right? But what we see is that there's this disproportionate number of Black women who are so poor that they have to get federal assistance.
Mm-hmm.
We can say the same thing about Black men, right?
Yes.
That there's a disproportionate number of Black men who are in jail. Should Black men, and I know this is going to sound argumentative, apologize for going to jail
No,
on
I
Black
like where you're
women,
going. I like it.
right? So I think we got to be careful, because we are victims of a system of oppression that creates situation that automatically, simply because you're born Black, disadvantages you.
Yeah.
Right? And that's been true across the board in all of these situations. Now, what happens out of this is, all of these other issues happen as a result of this kind of oppression. What I want us not to do is to blame each other for being in those positions. I don't want to be in the space where I'm going to blame Black men for going to prison because y'all should have did better. You should have knew better. I don't want people to blame Black women for being on welfare because you're destroying the Black family. What we need to do is we really need to consider the system that created that situation, and do something to address that, as opposed to, again, we're fighting each other, right? Over something we have absolutely no control over. So is the question, should Black women not eat? Should their babies starve?
Right. That's what
Should they be
that
as
was where I was going to
opposed
go.
to taking this help so they can
Right.
feed their babies,
Yeah.
right? And so instead of us fighting over these little crumbs that they're offering, that's being offered, let's question the system that's creating this situation. Can I tell y'all one story real quick?
Yes, ma'am.
There was, and I can't think of the guy's name right now, but there was a guy who did this study on rats. And what he found out is that rats are really good swimmers. And these.
No, I can't.
Yeah, I
Do
know
you know the
exactly.
story?
I know
Right?
exactly what
And
you're
so
going.
Go ahead.
put
Go
the
ahead,
rats in
please.
the bucket. Put the
Please
rats
go
in the
ahead.
bucket, and the rats swam around for a minute, and then they went down to the bottom, looked around, came back up, and within a couple of minutes they died. Right? What he found is that if he pulled the rats out of the bucket just for a few seconds and put them back in, they could swim for hours longer, many hours longer. Right?
Dr.
Now,
Richter?
say it again.
Was it Dr. Richter? Kurt
Yes,
Richter?
yes.
Yeah.
So rats are notoriously good swimmers, right? But they die because they gave up hope. Now, a lot of people focus on that as being hope, right? But we never focus the hope of the rat, right? The rat had some hope that they could survive, so they start to swim longer. We never question the person who put them in the water,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
never
Never
question
question.
Dr. Richter and his people who put him in the water, who could have fixed their situation by simply kicking over the bucket of water or not putting them in the water altogether. And so what we do is we focus on the people who are the victims of these situations,
Yes, we do.
saying that you need to pull yourself up. You need to figure it out, right? Because if you could get yourself right, then things would be better. We never question the system.
So
How do you propose?
go ahead.
Well, let
Go
me
ahead,
say
brother.
this. How do you propose we have that conversation with our sisters when we can't reference racism and white supremacy at all?
That's because you're hanging out with the wrong sisters. It really is that simple.
It's just a period. Period.
So how do we cross the divide of those sisters who we're hanging out with are the ones who need the help the most?
Okay, but let me get a better understanding though. Why do you feel like you can't have that conversation with any sister?
No. I'm not saying any sister. I'm saying that and I'm gonna speak to my brother's experiences and my experiences, our collective experiences, right? I'm saying not that we can't have obviously we can. We got 3 sisters on the
And-
chat line right now that we can
Yeah.
have that conversation with. Obviously, we know we can, but to again, like for me, I'm using this phrase "come outside," like because outside ain't this conversation. So when I'm having this conversation with these specific sisters, or brother, I don't have to genderize it. We could talk about our own issues in our community as it relates to the issues that we face as Black men without actually talking about our sisters. We can't reference racism and white supremacy. That's not something that they believe in. I have close friends who don't believe in white supremacy and racism to that point. So how do
they explain or understand their circumstances?
Well, I could speak to that is our fault.
Yep, they blame it on the individual. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm gonna tell you-
Yeah, that's why I'm when my sister is saying I agree.
That is so unfortunate that we have swallowed that lie that has been sold to us. And again, what I'm saying is it's great for us to diagnose the issue, the problems, but then we have got to be the change we want to see. And so we've got to, just like this other narrative has been so put out there that we have bought it and seemingly embodied it, some of us have to be courageous enough to push back against that and to now change that narrative and to keep speaking the truth, because we can't cower in the face of a lie. We
Right.
definitely
let me
know,
say this.
we
I
definitely
don't disagree with Aya. I think that there's a time and place for that. I'm gonna tell you that my outside, I have people I can talk to about white racist supremacy. The Aya and Nikita are my outside, and I think that that's the piece, right? It depends on who your circle is, right? Now I'm gonna say this, right? There are people I don't talk to about that. I don't talk to about right racist supremacy. I don't talk to about any of those kinds of things. I don't say those words. I have conversations that help us to see that we can't always look to the individual as the source of the problem, right? So what we need to do is think about, well, what kind of laws do we have in place that make insurance, car insurance in Detroit so high?
Yes, exactly.
What kind of rules do we have
I've
in place
approached it
that
that way.
create that kind of injustice and inequality? So I think we can have those conversations in ways where we don't, because people are offended by, and it depends on what you're trying to do, right? People are offended white racist supremacy when you say those words. They don't want to hear it.
Words.
We can talk about social structure and inequality and injustice. You know, we got some people we can talk to about that. In my mind, I'm trying to figure out, what is my goal? What am I trying to do? And what is the best path to get there? When I'm talking with Aya and Nikita, white racist supremacy. Yeah. When I'm talking with other folks, it's, social structure, injustice. How do we address those?
Yeah, I agree. I do this. Yeah, I agree.
Well, Dawn, I'll tell you this.
I know you do. I know you do, Aya.
Nikita will say this. I don't care where I am. I'm calling it what it is, because if we don't see who is really pulling these strings, then we stay fighting each other. Right. And yet we're not the problem. We are responding to this thing that we're not paying attention to. And by the way, if we don't call this thing a thing, we're going to mess around and have enough of us vote for Trump, and they will take us all the way back. I'm
having those conversations now.
That's something we talk about all the time.
Stuff, but we need to study our history. Here's the thing: we cannot just look at ourselves as, 2023. We need to understand the length and scope of our history. Understand where we come from. What did grandmama them do? What did they experience? What happened before that? And I know that these are not popular topics. But again, I can talk about the problem, or I can be about trying to solve the problem. And that problem may not be solved today because it didn't start today, but daggone it, if I'm not going to speak my piece and impact whoever I can impact. Yeah. So yeah, if you had my children who are in their, young adults now, if they were part of this conversation, they'll be part of them, like, mom, because they want to fit in, they want to be cool, they want to be accepted. And I'm like, I will embarrass you everywhere because I'm going to speak this truth, period.
Yeah. Hey, let me just say this. When you all were talking earlier about when Sister Dawn was talking about black men going to jail and welfare and stuff, this was actually something that we had. It wasn't about black men going to jail. It was the things that were being accepted. So I said this, that the question actually is black men that fought for the actions we see from black women today. And the reason, and I said that we were, because we have accepted so many bad things. And so when the sister said about going to jail, I'm like, well, yeah, that's y'all fault. Y'all accepted it. So accepted the drug seller. Y'all accepted, the man coming in. You know what I mean? So that's it. I don't want to have that conversation. But I was just letting you know, that's why I started smiling, because me and the brothers, we talked about this.
But you can't. Hang on, Don. But you don't have to have that conversation right now. But that point you just made connects back into everything that, they've just been saying so passionately over the last few minutes. I mean, like, Aya wouldn't have written the book that she had, books, but the book that she just wrote without an understanding of the need that it's a both and. So everything that we said is true. And yet the other side is that there is some accountability for us as individuals as well. And we can't forget that, shit happens and we're in a bad system, and we need to approach laws and policies and procedures. But if we are only listening to mumble rap and Sexy Red and all the rest of this, then we're not paying attention. And that's on us if we're not paying attention. And so it's both and. We have to do the work and we have to pay attention.
Yes, ma'am.
So I want to say this. We have a viewer in here, and if you all can turn your attention to the chat, there's a post in the chat, and I would love to hear the response to the statement.
Let me see what he said. But it wasn't on black men to yo. It said the brother said, "Is it a brother or sister?"
It's a sister. Her name is Majestic.
Name
Well,
Majestic.
well,
Okay.
I would just start with this. The Willie Lynch letter is false. It doesn't exist. That is a false narrative that is out there. Not
Hold
that
on, what
the
is it?
not that
I
the
didn't even hear it.
components of it were
You
not
you have to
acted
click
out,
out and see
but
it, Jay.
the whole idea of there was a Willie Lynch letter, that is actually not true.
To some
Just
degree, I
start
think
there.
we've addressed her question. At, at
I
least
can't see the question, brother. You know, I'm
what I
check.
think we said is that we are victims of an unjust and racist system, and the goal of that unjust and racist system is to
Let
pit
me
us one
just give
against
me 1
another.
second, sweet. I want to let you. I just want to let me read this question so Jay know what was. Okay, it said, but it wasn't on the black man to keep his family. The decision continues to reside with the black woman more, especially because the black woman fell victim to a system that was designed to break apart the family. The system targeted the woman, according to Willie Lynch, and still stands true today. That's
Right,
what.
Okay. All right.
right.
All right,
So
go
we're
ahead.
victims of this system. And I think the nature of this comment tends to, it seems like it's placing blame on the black woman because we fell victim to something. The point is that as a community, we are a community as a whole who fell victim to a racist system that is designed to oppress, right? So I think it doesn't really advantage us to make an argument that it is more of the black man's problem or the black man's fault
I
or
agree.
the black woman's fault.
Agree.
The issue is not either of us. None of us have done anything, right, to justify the experiences that we are currently having. We are victims, as she says, of a system. It's not our fault.
But I also think this question for me, on the one hand, the man is the leader, he's the this, the that, he's the head, and the woman is the neck. But then when it comes to the issue of the black family break apart, it's the woman's responsibility to have kept the family together. How about it is our shared responsibility to keep the family together? I mean, we can, if we want to talk about social structure and talk about what's happening in our community, we can talk about men who are, laying their seed everywhere they go, maybe multiple houses a night. How is that the woman's responsibility solely? So again, let's talk partnership here. And it's again very easy. Who was it that wrote the book Pedagogy of the Oppressed? It's very easy for us to blame ourselves for things that are happening to us. Women, blame yourself. Black women, blame yourself. And I'm not saying, and that's different from accountability. So yeah. But I thank her for the comment and for the question. But I think we have a shared responsibility on that.
No, I agree. I totally agree.
I do too.
I totally agree that the responsibility is shared. I just like to start stuff and say stuff like that too. Like the sister says, just good. It's good conversation, and you get some very good thoughts out of that.
Can I
The
say
last
something?
thing.
I want to say something that I think is controversial,
Okay.
but that I
Okay,
feel
now.
for real. And I
At
haven't said
10:30 dawn.
I know, I'm just going to say what I want to say.
Go ahead.
As black women, right? And I'm a professional black woman. I got a house and a car. I want a man, right? I want a black man, right? If I can't have a black man, I will have no man, right?
Okay.
Now, as black women, what we probably won't admit, but what we want is we want to be protected,
Hell
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
We
that's
want to
right.
be cared for.
That's right.
We want a soft place to land. So even when I go to work and I have to do all the stuff I have to do at work because it's work and that's my job, right? When I come home, I don't want to have to do all that stuff,
Right.
right? I haven't, as a black woman who is
Hold on. Can I interject? What do you mean?
wait,
You don't
wait,
want
let me
to do
finish.
all
Let me
that?
finish. I'm almost done. As a
I'm
black
lost.
woman who is middle aged, I am still waiting, right? I have not given up on brothers. I am hopeful that there are brothers who have not given up on us. Right? So this idea that because because I consider myself a feminist, in that I believe that women should have equal rights with men, that Black women should center their experiences, that they should be able to define who they are, right, within the context of Black families, that we should have that power. Is that something in embracing those kinds of ideals? Are you also giving up this whole idea of having this soft place, of being protected, of being cared for, of being, that fragile one? Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
That's
Totally
my
understood.
question.
Can you shed light on what you meant by when you are a professional woman, when you're at work, you have to do what it is that you need to do at work, but when you come home,
Yes.
because that is an area of I would like to be educated in.
So when I you want to know what I
What do you mean by that? Because I say this is what I say. All right, I'm not here to define womanhood for any woman.
mhm.
Um, I would rather a woman defines that for me and what she sees her duties and responsibilities are. I think that's a fair way to do, because I'm not going to listen to a woman telling me what manhood is. I'm sorry, I'm not there
Well,
yet.
you are sounding more and more like a Black feminist. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, I sound
Um,
like
so
when I'm in church, I sound like a Christian. When I'm at the mosque, I sound like I get it everywhere
Muslim.
I go.
You're Muslim when they're at the mosque.
Yeah, I'm
okay,
everywhere
so
I go.
let me tell you what that
But
means. So I lead at work. I'm in a leadership position at work. I have people
okay,
who report directly to me. I set rules, I set boundaries, I set goals. I explain to people what needs to be done. I help them to reach those goals, right?
okay,
I encourage them in professional development. I cheer them on. I support them. I nurture them. I do those things, right?
okay.
When
Hmm.
I come home, I don't want to have to cook the food, buy the food, take out the trash, get the car ready. I need a roof. I need to get somebody to get up and look at the roof. Now the eaves trough got leaves in it.
That is
Who's
where
gonna
my
cut the
that
grass?
is okay. Let's
And not
put in the
only that,
mud, baby. It's that time of the night. Let's get in there.
those
Let's
are some
go.
of those
If she
practical
says she
things,
want to
right?
do it,
Yeah,
Do you
it's
hear what
about
I'm
to go
saying?
down now.
let's get it. It's about that
Right, right,
time.
right. So those
Okay.
are those practical kinds of things. And so when I come home, I don't want to be the only one making decisions at my house.
Oh no.
I've
Okay.
made enough decisions at work. I've done all that stuff, right? They gave me a check. When I come home, I want to rest. I want somebody to comfort. I need somebody to help me make decisions. I need somebody to take the lead in some stuff. Do you
Yes.
hear? I need somebody to lead.
Yeah.
Now, as you know, because now I've known y'all for about an hour and a half, I am not I'm not this really docile kind of person,
Right.
No,
right?
don't
Now,
seem to
if
be at
you can
all.
lead me, then you can lead me. But if you can't lead, then you can't lead me.
Well,
So
that's what's up. Hey, that should be a criteria. That should, like, my sister took her glasses off like that.
yeah,
Like
yeah, she
that
ready.
should be a
I'm surprised she put a
criteria.
Vaseline on her face.
Hey, bro,
Like,
bro, she took the glasses off. Like, if he say one wrong, let's go.
No,
yo,
And sat
No,
back
I'm
in
just
it.
teasing you. I'm 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 just saying you look like say one
yeah, like
syllable.
she was about to go like this.
Yeah, like come on with it. Yeah, what's up?
No,
Okay.
no, I'm just happy that we are having these honest conversations, because
I, I,
again, we often don't have these conversations. So
I,
this is a
I think
beautiful
that
thing.
that right there, what my sister says she's looking for in a man, I think that has to be taught. That has to be taught to. Let me say something now about my personal experience. Now, my brother alluded to me being sexually abused. That didn't have for some reason, I don't know. It just never had a profound effect on me. One thing that I've noticed about myself is I'm a very forgiving person. So I really don't hold on to none of that. I try to understand that we make mistakes as human beings, right? But this one I couldn't swallow. And I told this to my mother, right? And I grew up in a two-parent household. My father is my Jesus, period. Like everything he taught me, everything he stood for. Um, that was my guy. I walked downstairs into the kitchen where my mother, and I don't think she meant this in any type of nefarious way at all, was conversing with my sister. I'm just going to, I'm playing basketball, coming in, going to get some Kool-Aid out of the refrigerator. And I heard her say these words. And what she said to my sisters was, you better understand you don't depend on a man for shit. Now, I'm about 13. I'm walking. When she said it, it just pierced through my body. I didn't know how to respond to that. I just kept on going. Went on ahead and got the Kool-Aid. But even as a 13-year-old, I began to process what my father did, how he went to work every morning, how and I don't listen. My parents will tell you stay out of grown folks' business. So I'm not here to speak to my parents. What I think about my parents might not be what they have their own experiences, right? But what I thought about from the outside, I would say, is he got up every morning. He went to work. He was he was the better cook than my mom because he cooked. He's from the South, so he had to cook for his brothers and sisters. He cooked. He helped with homework. He did these things. I don't like to say all. He was a man, and for her to say that, it left a very impressionable dent in my mind. So what I'm speaking to is this: when my sister says she's professional, she leads, she goes, she's the leader in her professional arena, and she come home. What is it? Because I could be off. I'm asking, what is it that you see that men should look for in a woman? Like, what is womanhood? Like, what is that? Because if it sounds like, and I don't want to put any words in your mouth. It sounds like because I've heard this before, when you're on the job, you 9 to 5, and you come home, that is where your job is that and not the home. That's what it sounds like. And so the question is, because I've had this conversation, and my mother would say, why can't you do both? And I told my mother, because she spoke to the experience of a woman, like how she shouldn't just be defined by having children. She just be defined by just cooking your meal. And I appreciate that. But when she asked me, well, why can't we do both? I responded to her, well, why don't you ask the person in the mirror? Because that's not my plight. So I'm not trying to be hurtful, degrade in any way. I literally don't understand that, because as a man, when I got to wear that hat out there on the job and I come home, I don't
Still got work to
do
do.
that. I have to make sure that I can provide for my family. I have to make sure that my wife is feeling edified. I have to make sure that she's protected. So I can't disconnect those realities just because when I come home from work, that's a place of employment. I still have a job to do.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I've always said. And my job, as I see it as a man.
Okay, come on, after 7, you're going to come home, run her bath, cook her meal. I'm just messing. I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
Thinking anyway. Don't throw it on the wall like old girl, the color of the purple. Like, you trying to kill me? But that's the point that I'm trying to make. I'm literally kind of confused a tad bit when you say that. Genuinely, I'm not trying to be funny here at all, because that's the area. The gray area.
The question.
No, what he's saying is
what I'm hearing him saying, if I may, what I'm hearing him saying is men don't get to take a moment off or a day off. Like, they're on at work and they got to come home, and we're still expecting them to deliver in a certain way. So why can't we do both? Why can't we? Are we prioritizing what we do outside of the home over what we're doing in the house? Is that what you're saying, brother?
That's a beautiful illustration.
That's a great.
No. So that was not what I was asking for. I'm not saying I'm coming home, I ain't doing jack, right? I believe that there are these agreements. I don't know what the agreement is that you have with your husband or wife, right? But there are agreements that two people have when they enter into relationships about
wife. I'm a man.
It's gonna go.
Sorry,
allow me to finish. So there are agreements that you come to.
I knew that was coming.
About what you're gonna do, about how this is gonna work. The point that I'm making is that I do it all. all the time, 100% of the time. Now, I'm not suggesting that if there was a man here, I'm coming home, I'm sitting down, he gonna rub my feet, I'm gonna sit in the tub. I ain't doing jack until I got to go to work tomorrow. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm suggesting is that it's valuable to have a companion with whom you have an agreement about how you are going to work as a married couple.
I agree. Okay.
Yes.
Right? That's all I'm saying. I'm not suggesting that you work all day, come home and keep working, and then I'm gonna come home and sit down. I come home and keep working. I'm just not doing all of it by myself.
Yeah. You know,
yeah, we got to bring This is no. We got to do this again, and I'm bringing people outside in the house. Yeah, this is no, hell no. That's not. Go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
No,
they come back.
But you know what? The truth, though, is again, this capitalist society that we live in does not reward women for functioning in their feminine energy unless they're hypersexualized. Then, you know, we're whapping it and y'all are paying us and we're on OnlyFans and we can get money that way. But I wouldn't even say that that's, you know, the feminine energy that I really want to tap into is a form of it. And so there's this sense that, yes, to make it out there in whatever field you're in, you gotta stand strong, you gotta fight, you gotta get yours, you gotta secure the bag, all of that. And I would admit that it's a tough transition sometimes to come home and maybe be this other thing that this person wants you to be, especially since we rarely have these conversations. We come into relationships, each person with their own perspective and their filters through which they see relationships and whatever experiences they've had. And we just assume that the other person is on the same wavelength. And then the next thing we're clashing. So what was interesting when you were talking and saying how you felt when you heard your mother tell your sisters, basically, you better have yours, is my father, a father of 7, and 4 of us are girls, told all of his girls, you better go to college and be able to take care of yourself. He didn't say that to belittle men in any way or to make us adversarial to men, but just in the sense that after my mother had 7 children, he encouraged her to get her PhD. His point was, our family is as strong as, quote unquote, whoever is the weakest. If something happens to me, I want y'all to still be able to thrive. You know, so my younger siblings stayed back in Nigeria when my mother came back here to the US to work on her PhD.
Okay.
With my father's full support.
Right.
And again, so when we hear things, it's also how we filter those things. So I was taught, make sure you can take care of yourself, not to compete with a man, but because if we both come strong and whole, then we're stronger together.
Yes.
Then if I'm just like, you know,
I agree with that.
I can't eat
I
if
agree
you
with
do
that.
anything. And let me also say
that
this
wasn't the
about,
context in which my mother spoke in, though. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't know what
about what
context she said it in, and
I understand.
And that might be a conversation. Sometimes it's really important even for us to be able to have these conversations with our parents when we get older and they might be willing to talk. And so
we had it.
Okay, awesome. So the other thing that I wanted to say, just in terms of experiences and how it may affect how we show up for ourselves and in relationships, this issue of abuse, however we processed it, I was sexually molested by cousins.
Okay.
You know, so I could very well come out into this whole thing like, you know what, I got beef with every man because this happened. Yeah. And this is why, if people don't take anything else from this conversation, at least from what I have to share tonight, it is so important, if we want our society to heal, if we want our community to be stronger, that we individually do the work for our own healing.
Yes, absolutely.
And we can't blame that on nobody. I mean, like, things happen. But what I choose to do with my pain, my trauma, and how I choose to do the work to heal makes all the difference moving forward. And I personally believe, as a mother, the healthier I am, the less diseases I pass on to my children.
Yes.
I like that.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. That was absolutely beautiful. Um, well, I mean, she just kind of like answered. Well, this whole thing actually just answered the last two questions about trying to heal the divide between black men and women. I mean, this whole conversation actually spoke to that, and that's what I was going to ask as use as the last topic. But this whole conversation spoke to it, and it was spoken so eloquently and beautifully. And
Can I
I,
say something?
yes, ma'am.
Just to add to it, because we've spent a lot of time talking about like the financial element, the social emotional elements, but because we're holistic beings, there's a lot more to us to tap into and to think about the need to make sure that we're taken care of. So then we also have to pay attention to our spiritual self. We also have to give ourselves permission to take care of our sexual selves. Like
Yes.
even in thinking about um, who we are in relationship to one another, those two things are very tightly married. And a lot of what we've talked about has man, I don't know why the word perverted is in my head, but has perverted those two experiences and how they relate to connecting us as people and connecting us as men and women and connecting us as black men and women.
That's right.
Exploited. I won't say perverted, I'll say exploited, although you could also make the case for perverted. And so we can't lose sight of that as we talk about who we are and how well we want to be, that we're whole people. And so we want to attend to all of the pieces of us as whole people, because you can bring home the bacon, fry it up in the pan, be the best partner ever, but if your spirit is out of whack, if I don't want you looking at me, I don't want you touching me, I don't want you thinking about me in any kind of way, then we still have problems connecting. And
Yeah.
so we just have to take care of the whole person, man or woman.
Well,
Yes,
I'm gonna say this, and I'm quite sure I speak for my other two brothers on the panel. Ladies, it has been more than a pleasure speaking with you all today, and we look forward to doing this again. Thank you for giving us oxygen.
thank you, thank you, T. That is so very well put, brother. Thank you so
I'm
much.
mad.
Yeah. You say what?
I'm joking.
I'm mad. Man,
I'm,
please.
I'm joking, man. I'm bringing people outside. They got to come back, man. 'Cause
If I may say one additional thing, and after this, just as you said, like you were saying, after this, you're gonna go squeeze your wife.
Wife.
Even in having this conversation with you guys, I am reflecting on how I can do better, be better in my own
yes.
relationship. And I know this is something that you black men do not hear enough. But you all are awesome.
Thank you so much.
We
Appreciate
love you.
Thank you.
You are resilient. You have faced and overcome things that have wiped out other groups of people, and we are still here.
Yes.
And we might be limping, we might got a few organs not quite working,
Yeah.
and some other things have, but we are here and we're still fighting, and we just have to give you the respect and appreciation you deserve for that. Is there a lot of healing that needs to be done in our community? Absolutely. But I, for one, want to believe that we are going to find our way out of this hellhole these idiots put us in, because
Mm.
they're so miserable themselves. Yes, I'm going to call it what it is, because there is nowhere the white man has been where he has not created chaos. And you guys
Everywhere the
can
white
disagree
man
with
go, we
me, or
bring
we can
misery.
go and look for it. Everything they killed, they killed the fish, they kill the animals, polluting the water, the daggone ozone
But
layer,
see,
it's got a hole in it. I'm telling you, I'm serious. They are a destructive force as an entity. Are there per individual white people that are friends of mine, even family? Yes, but I'm
Yeah.
just looking at the as an entity.
collective. Yeah.
Yes, as a
Yeah.
collective, people who will use their brain power
You're the
to create
snakes.
landmines and to create bombs to kill people, but we won't feed
Yes.
people. That's
Yeah.
madness. And
It's
Yeah.
let's
mad.
call it what it is. And you all have found a way in the midst of this madness to hold on. And let me tell you, we Black women, we're holding on. We're hurting just as bad as you all are.
Yeah.
And we want you. But we want y'all to not bring all your aggression to us. Like, come soft, like Dawn was saying, and hold us and love us so we can hold you and love you. We ain't trying to fight. I ain't trying to fight nobody.
You sure? You sure?
No, nah.
You sure?
The way you leaned back and took the
Yeah, you
glasses
need to
off,
take
I
the
was
glasses
Glasses
off.
off.
I
You know what?
see
I
some
took
Vaseline and some shoes go
you know
fly.
what?
Just saying, it didn't look like you was trying to
You
get
know
something
what?
out your eye.
No. I took the glasses off because they're reading glasses. I hate glasses. And I realized, oh my God, I've had this thing on my face. No wonder my face is hurting. So I took it back and then I was relaxing. And y'all interpreted it as something else. See that?
But
Well,
listen,
I just want to be loved. How about that?
yeah, we want to
absolutely.
love y'all. Like you,
Yeah, that's what we do.
I think I've like it's what's beautiful about this is I came into this wanting to learn, and I have. And one thing that you all spoke about that I'm really biting my teeth on, but it's being gentle. Like sometimes I have an issue with being gentle. If I might put my stuff out there, like I'm like, no, this like the way I come at it. I'm not a mean person, but I do like speaking in facts. I do like speaking adamantly. I do like dealing with actuality, and sometimes it may. I will have to appreciate that it may come across. I'm gritting my teeth when I say this. It might serve as a barrier in terms of how I communicate. Yeah, so I'm
Well,
gritting
it
my
definitely
teeth.
serves as a barrier for me because I mean,
Oh,
I don't know.
you
I
just
don't know if y'all know, but I'm called the Neanderthal of the
yeah.
group.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
no, I want to thank everyone that came on here. Honestly, I appreciate this. We're down to like a minute and something left, so I totally appreciate you guys. This was beautiful.
It was. It really was.
And it just listen to you guys. It did, and to the sisters, it made me appreciate my wife more, my mother, and any other sisters that I've come across in my life. I can appreciate them and understanding, where they come from, their thoughts, their aspirations, and listening to you guys. So I appreciate you. I thank you so much, and again, I thank my brothers for doing this with me because I know, I could be, bit of a burden trying to get y'all to get over here with me and do stuff and send stuff to y'all. Look, man, we got to do this and stuff like that. But I appreciate my brothers. These are my partners, and I appreciate you, sisters. And let's call it a night. We can end the stream. So thank you,
Thank you.
and let's do this again. All right?
I'm
Yeah,
I'm
I
bringing
gotta go
people.
read.
I'm bringing some people in, man.
Yeah.
Some people coming because this thing ain't right, man. Got to bring some people outside.
You're right.
I gotta go read some books on how to be soft.
Yeah, I'm about to go. I'm about.
You do.
Yeah, and I'm about to
you
go
know what?
squeeze my wife. So
What you just said about reading some books on how to be soft. I mean, like, we do have to each work on whatever is keeping us from what it is we want to have or be. So that
Right.
whole growth and personal development, it's real.
Right.
I mean,
yes,
it's
ma'am.
real. I know I'm constantly on that path.
Well, it's
And
been
yeah.
it has truly been a journey for me. I don't know if you all got a chance, and I'm sorry, these. I know you're trying to end this
Yeah, I'm trying
thing,
to go
man,
squeeze
but
my wife, man. Y'all keep talking.
well,
Well, in the live.
Yeah,
I mean,
come
listen,
on.
I got to say this.
go ahead. No, I
I
want what you get.
The experience that I've had with women has been extremely traumatic for me.
Here I come, baby.
All the way from the from my mom. Like I grew up without a mother or a father.
Mm.
So when
Yeah,
we hear the phrase "get it out the mud," literally that is where I was at, left in the mud.
that's why you look like junkyard
So
dog.
no,
Baby, here I come.
Stop, Adisa.
actually, sir, I look like Barry White.
That's what I was gonna say.
Right.
But listen, ladies, it has truly been, a breath of fresh air on my journey, to have this dialogue with y'all. It's been real.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
thank you for
And
him
and
as
when
well. I
was the
do.
last time you looked in the mirror and said to yourself, look how far I've come.
Right.
Every day.
Look what I had to overcome, and look at where I am now, and just give yourself a hug. Like
Yeah.
for
Every
real.
day.
Awesome.
Every day.
I'm
Awesome.
a king.
Awesome.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm a
Awesome.
king.
King
And
JYD.
your life has purpose. For you to have experienced all of that and to be here, your life has purpose.
Yes. Thank you
Appreciate it.
guys so much. Baby, how come they won't stop talking? All right. Y'all take care. Y'all have a good night. All right.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank
Good
y'all
night.
for joining. Thank you.
Peace, y'all.
Peace. Oh man, let me end this thing. I don't even know how to turn this thing off. Turn this thing. There you go. Bye.
We're still on, Aya, so I think we have to disconnect.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you all again for coming on. It's been beautiful.
Yeah, leave the studio.
How do you do that? Okay.